Surprising, right? Our boy Inosuke wasn't actually raised by the boars. No, I mean, he was, but the story of Inosuke's past is much deeper. For the longest time, all we had to go on for when it comes to his backstory was chapter 71.5 of the manga. It's an extra chapter that features a silly story from Inosuke's early days, but we still had no idea about his beginning. Where does Inosuke actually come from? Demon Slayer puts a lot of emphasis on family. So what do we know about Inosuke's family? Well, in this video, we're going to explore just that. We'll explore the forgotten story of Inosuke's family, his beginning, and the story of his life before final selection. Let's get into it. His backstory was mostly revealed to us during the fight against Doma, the Open Moon 2 during the Infinity Castle arc. Speaking of Doma, he is the only true psychopath in the entire series. Yes, even more than Muzan. Muzan is a hardcore narcissist, while Doma is a psychopath. As friendly and charismatic as he may try to appear, he is sick to the core. The guy started a cult only to eat his followers. For his defense though, he believed that he was simply giving them shelter inside his body. Sounds inhumane? I know, right? Well, his cult and psychopathic tendencies are relevant if we're talking about Inosuke's backstory. In chapter 158, as Kanao is struggling against Doma, Inosuke epically enters the chat. He is in high spirits for the opportunity to defeat Upper Moon 2, but when he learns about Shinobu's death, those high spirits turn into rage. We're treated to a few panels of pure badassery as Inosuke faces off against Doma. Doma even comments that in all his life, he has never seen a kid like him, but when Inosuke's mask comes off, Doma realizes that he remembers him from somewhere before. Where? Doma pokes his brain to find those memories, and that's where we get it. In chapter 160, Inosuke's past is finally revealed. It was about 15 years ago. Doma found a 17 or 18-year-old woman named Kotoha Hashibara. She was all bruised up from head to toe, desperately traversing the lands in the middle of a heavy snowfall, all while carrying an infant baby. As it turns out, her husband was abusive, and her mother-in-law was no different. Her husband would beat and punch her every day, while her mother-in-law would bully and abuse her. It was a truly sad state of existence. No wonder she picked up her baby and ran away. When Doma met her, her face was swollen so badly that he couldn't even tell what the original shape was. She was also partially blind because of the beatings. He restored her to her original beauty and was pleasantly surprised by her graceful appearance. Thinking about it now, Doma realizes that she had the exact same face as the one he is seeing right now. Yes, she had the exact same face as Inosuke. This would imply that she is Inosuke's mother, but Inosuke tries to deny it. After all, he was raised by the boars. But of course, that's not entirely true. He is human, so it goes without saying that a human must have given birth to him. Inosuke acts rashly and attacks Doma, which causes him to put him down temporarily so that he can continue the story. The thing about Kotoha is she had no parents or siblings. Doma took her into his paradise cult, but still, as much as he enjoys the nutritional value of young women, he was never planning on eating her. In his words, having someone as beautiful as her beside him already felt pretty good. Now, what Doma says next strikes a chord with Inosuke. He says that although she wasn't very smart, she was beautiful and was pretty good at singing. She would carry her baby a lot and sing the Pinky Promise lullaby. It goes like this, guys. Pinky promise, I will protect you, I promise. Until you get big, your mother will protect you all alone. Sorry, Inosuke. You may feel lonely, but I will work hard to protect you in your father's stead. Inosuke, I will protect you even if it costs me my life. By the way, this pinky promise also rhymes with the pinky promise Inosuke made with Shinobu. The reason he felt so strongly about it is because the pinky promise subconsciously reminded him of his mother. But now it all makes sense. Doma mentions that every time she sang the lullaby, the lyrics were different. It ended up becoming a Tanuki village song. Pretty touching. This is where Inosuke realizes why he felt so strongly about that pinky promise with Shinobu. Deep in his heart and soul, it reminded him of his mother. Doma continues. He says that his plan was to keep Kotoha by his side until the day she passed away. He had no intention of eating her, but her intuition was insane. She eventually found out about how he ate his followers, and as much as he tried to explain himself, Kotoha picked up baby Inosuke and ran away. As she is running through a forest, she is profusely apologizing to Inosuke, how she always messes up and goes the wrong way, but Inosuke is just drooling from his mother, wondering what's up. In the end, she reaches a cliff and gently throws him in the river. This is so at the very least, Inosuke can still survive. Doma calls her stupid for dumping her baby off of a cliff and then eats her to the very bone. Inosuke silently listening to all of this. He is listening to Doma talk about how his mother had an unfortunate and pointless existence. Yet at the same time, his dormant memories are awakening. He remembers his mother holding him. He remembers her saying that just being with him is bliss for her. Alright, now Inosuke is angry. He is truly enraged, ready to kill the demon who killed his mother and friend. Anyways, Doma ultimately dies of Shinobu, so how about we go back to Inosuke's backstory and sort of connect the dots. As I mentioned before, some part of Inosuke's backstory was told in chapter 71.52. In that chapter, we see Inosuke being raised by wild boars, which means that after Inosuke fell into the river, he was saved by those boars. As he grew older, he claimed to be the king of the mountains. How though? How did he learn the human language while living with boars? Let me tell you a little story about a young man named Tokuharu. He is a young man who lives with his old grandpa and is looking for a wife. Well, one day when he came home, he sees his grandpa feeding a weird animal and freaks out. It's Inosuke. He chases him away because he is overprotective of his grandpa. But then another day, he sees the same weird animal sitting in his grandpa's lap. And what's this? The grandpa is actually reading him lines from the 100 Poets. He chases him away again. At one point, the grandpa notices a name written on the weird animal's diaper. It's Inosuke Hashibata. The grandpa realizes that this is his name. Now, the next time Tokuharu sees them, his grandpa is teaching the weird animal how to speak now. He freaks out like this all the time, but Inosuke kicks him in the face and tells him to shut up. Well, that's how Inosuke learned how to talk and read, I guess? As they say, it's history. By the way, Inosuke's backstory wasn't just dropped on us out of nowhere. It was properly foreshadowed. Back in chapter 37, when Inosuke's life flashed before his eyes while fighting the spider dad demon, he remembers the face of his mother apologizing just before she throws him in the river. In the end, it's a horribly sad, laughable, and ridiculous story. Loved by his mom, but raised by the boars, and of course, sharpened by the wilderness, Inosuke is truly the king of the mountain. Yup, this boy needs as much love as he can get. And what do you think, guys? What do you think of his backstory? Wild, isn't it? So go wild in the comments and below, tell me what your favorite Demon Slayer character is. Let's talk about it some more. My name's Deronian Knight. I'll see you guys next time.
満開千本桜影よし